A's word against B's word. And the crucial thing was television footage to determine what the intent was. And the SABC, South African Broadcasting Corporation.
It sounded like a gali for a second. Huh? So when you told me, I thought I said something wrong. SABC. Hey, two SABC, sir.
What does it remind you of? Huh? You got a wicked mind.
Afrikaans.
Wicked. Sunny was part of a young Wazir Sultan tobacco team in Moinul-Dawla. So the tradition then was a senior guy would be captain, Tiger, Jessima, Hanman Singh, whoever. And there would be the other 9, 10 would be young, promising college, university cricketers. So Sunny was one of them.
So this is before he goes to West Indies?
Before he goes to West Indies.
Okay.
So the problem was the team didn't know how to address Tiger. Kya bulaye? Nawab Saab, captain, skip, bat, what? So Sunny was told, ki aap pooch ke aao. It's your job, really go check with him how he should be addressed. So they were playing a game, fielding. Batsman got out. Tiger was at cover. Sunny at mid-off. So while this break, Sunny went up to him and said, "Sir, I have been asked." Tiger was bent down. He was tying his shoelaces. So Sunny said, Tiger finished tying his shoelaces, looked up at me, got up, smiled and walked away. No answer.
So what did they do, sir?
Skip, captain, Nawab Saab.
Wow. Piyush Pandey is also part of that group.
Piyush Pandey was with me in school.
People don't know that he was a keeper?
Yeah. He was with me in school.
Pretty good?
Yes. Piyush was good. And Piyush and we came from Jaipur to Century. We played together.
Yeah.
And Piyush was like family. Actually, so was Arun. And Piyush was also my captain in Rajasthan for one team. And we were very close friends and things. But I don't know what happened in one game. He called me after the game. He said, "Mere kamre mein aana shaam ko." Then,
which is not an invite.
It's a threatening thing.
Correct, yeah.
Then I met Clive after that. He didn't look me in the eye.
He never said, "How's Cap's ankle?" As good as his auntie. Very excited on Cyrus Says to have Amrit Mathur here in our studio. As you know, I'm a cricket nut. So when we have someone from the cricketing world and from my, not to age anyone, Sirji, because umar bhi ek cheez hai and I must respect
meri
that.
Kafi hai.
Meri to aur kafi hai, I think. But the thing is that we go back in time and growing up in the 90s, Amrit Mathur was so much a name that I remember when they first told me were coming on. They don't have as much of an idea of cricket from the 80s and 90s as we do. And so I immediately reacted. I was like, Amrit Mathur, because you're part of the star setup for me growing up. You know, the Gavaskar era, the Vishwanath, Kapil Dev era. And I was just thinking, wow, I'm damn happy to meet you. You know, thank God it's not over drinks because I won't leave you. I don't mean it that way, just because I just love my cricketers. So the book is called Pitchside, My Life in Indian Cricket. A quick overview about it, of course, is that he served, there are many iconic moments. You served as manager in 1992, which I think will be the greatest highlight because that's historical. Yeah. India goes to South Africa, apartheid is dismantled, Nelson Mandela is part of this whole tour, and the whole thing we were discussing offline is like, you know, you're more like a diplomat trying to bring the world together and do your...
You are expected to be a diplomat without being trained for it.
Yeah. It also happened very quickly, no?
It happened very quickly and I was very young.
Yeah.
And many thought that I was not fit to be the manager.
You and Manoj Prabhakar.
That's a different story.
From some of the stories in South Africa. Not so diplomatic, huh?
But Mr. Scindia, was the board president, was very clear. He just announced in a board meeting that Amrit Mathur was the manager. Normally, the manager of a team on a tour is elected in a working committee meeting. But Mr. Scindia being Mr. Scindia, he just thought that I was fit for it. He announced. So that's how I got appointed.
But we have to give it to Mr. Scindia and I think Ali Bakar for the kind of vision they had then and the fact that they pushed it through. Because it's for me, growing up, we never thought we'd see South Africa play. And then suddenly, overnight, very quickly, they came here. Calcutta, a huge thing. And before you know it, you guys are there.
Absolutely. Because there was a rush because there's a World Cup coming. And South Africa had to be admitted before that so that they could play and get into the World Cup.
And play that great semi-final where they have to score 22 runs of one ball. Cricket is so fair, yaar.
So they came to India. They had a great tour, 3 matches. And
huge support, right?
Huge support.
I mean, we saw on TV.
Everywhere. And it was decided that India would be the first team to tour South Africa.
In return.
They were also very keen that only a non-white team should come. And who better than India? Because
This is also racism, Sarji. ये भी है हल्का सा racism. They are reverse racism.
राजनीति तो है ही.
हाँ तो ठीक है.
राजनीति तो है ही.
Past.
राजनीति है. And they also wanted to make a statement that they're moving away from those bad days of apartheid. So it was sort of decided India would go. But it was a strange situation because at that time our passports were marked not fit to travel to South Africa.
And Israel.
Not valid for South Africa and Israel.
Yeah.
So that was one. And we were going into some kind of a political minefield. No foreign office there. You don't recognize the government. You know nothing about that.
Politically, it was not recognized yet.
No, we did recognize South Africa as a country. We had no diplomatic relations. We had no presence there.
BCCI went ahead of the government of India for the first and only time in the history of...
Absolutely.
My God, I respect you so much.
So politically, it was a minefield. De Klerk was still president. Mandela had just been released. So this process of transformation was happening. But it was all very fluid. And can you imagine, we reached Durban and imagine Chowpatty to Nariman Point. The main road. Durban is like that.
It used to be a main road, Sarji. I don't know if you've seen right now. Crater pe crater. Why do you bring this story up in the cricket topic?
No, but the point is that uske 2 mahine pehle tak, no non-white was allowed there.
Are you serious?
2 months before the team went to Durban in South Africa, and we were staying in a hotel called Maharani. Now it's called Elangani. So 2 mahine pehle, no non-white could go on that road and the entire stretch from say Chowpatty to Nariman Point. So those were the kind of.
So they also dismantled really quickly.
Yeah, and the major thing was they dismantling hua. They were very keen that because of Mandela there should be no bloodshed.
Right.
It should be as peaceful as possible, which is not easy.
Which didn't happen in neighboring Mugabe country.
It didn't happen in many other places. So
we're only talking Africa.
So it was very strange times politically. We went there, we made the usual request to meet Mandela because of, whatever. He was very gracious. He met us and we realized that we are in the presence of somebody.
Great presence, yeah.
Somebody different, And after a while, we got a message that De Klerk wants to meet us.
Wow.
Now, that's tricky because we don't want to be seen to be doing this. We are, not...
But you're in his country.
But we are not in support of his government or we don't recognize his government. So it became a bit, odd because you don't want to. At the same time, how do you refuse the president?
Yeah.
So ultimately, when compromise was reached, that he'd come to a cricket match and he'll just quietly come to the dressing room for 5 minutes.
No pictures.
No pictures, shake hands, go away.
Wow.
So that's what happened.
And they were okay with that?
Yes, I guess so.
So my memory of South African history is ultimately De Klerk came to the party and in the sense that because he was willing to allow change to happen. To some extent, to give him some credit. Second half of his career as a politician.
Absolutely. But those, as I was saying, those were difficult times. And the point was that I was there alone with 14 team members.
How old was young Amrit Mathur in 1992?
I was, I think, just slightly almost the same age as Kapil Dev, who was a member.
About 30.
35.
32. 35. Chalo.
No, we reached Harare first. We played a test match and then went to South Africa. So at Harare when we landed...
Manjrekar made 100. I remember watching the very slow 100.
We almost were subjected to a follow-on and things. And Manjrekar made 100 in almost 2 days of play.
He batted so much that Zimbabwe lost interest in cricket.
And it took them 20 years to revive that.
Fair enough, yeah.
So anyway, when you reach Harare, the Harare officials, the Zimbabwe officials came looking for a manager, an Indian team manager. Right. They couldn't find somebody senior. So ultimately, Kapil said, "Ye hai hamare manager." So they were, the team and everybody else were not used to a young manager.
That's true, actually. I can't remember my memory of any manager being. They were always much elder than the team.
Yeah, what I learned later that the person who was younger than me was Fateh Singh Rao Gaikwad.
Oh,
Jackie Gaikwad, as he was called. I think he went to England when he was 28 or 30. But then he was...
But he was a Gaikwad.
But he is the Gaikwad.
Blue blood. Yeah. So are you actually. In fact, let's go back to the beginning. We'll try in 1 hour, get as much as we can get. We jumped to 1992. Amrit Mathur's beginning is very interesting. You actually played cricket growing up in Jaipur, is it?
Yeah, I played some cricket. I was in Rajasthan schools. Then I came to Delhi University.
Wait, don't run so fast. I want to talk about Marshal Saab. There's a lot about this Marshal Saab in the book. Who is this Marshal Saab? Listen, because he corrected Dilip Sardesai's technique. And you made a very poignant point there. That Sardesai never played it for India again after that.
But listen, firstly, let me...
Not in a bad way.
Let me congratulate you that you've read the book so...
I read the book in under 2 hours. In under 2 hours. I was like Sehwag at the crease. Everything was on the offside. I just kept flying the bat.
Everything to the boundary.
Yeah,
right?
to the boundary.
No, Marshal Saab was a legend. He was part of the Indian team that went to England, the first ever team, 1932.
Oh.
He was a Parsi, he was alone, and he just after he finished playing cricket, he just shifted to Jaipur, and he coached. And the beauty of Marshal Saab was that he just taught everybody the right way to play cricket. If you've been to Marshal Saab net, your technique would reflect that, and anybody watching would know कि इसको cricket आती है. He knows how to play the front row defense, bowling कैसा है. So he gave everybody a basic foundation in cricket. So Marshal Saab was a legend.
तो आज क्या कहता था मार्शल साहब अगर IPL की
he would have suffered many heart attacks. many heart attacks.
8-year-old boys hitting the ball in the air and reverse pull.
Yeah, you're right. If anybody hit the ball in the air, he would get choices galis.
Wow.
And if you repeated that, he would be chucked out of the net.
Correct. Yeah.
So the only person he was slightly sort of fond of, despite his unorthodox way, was Salim Durrani. Salim Bhai would come here. He was a major star. Salim Bhai was swag. He was
already
He was a test player. The thing is, in Jaipur, there was the only functioning net. So any person playing cricket, senior Ranji Trophy players, school, etc.,
would all
come to Marshal Saab's net for practice and whenever. But Salim Bhai was exceptional, but he was the only one who could take liberties with Marshal Saab.
How do you rate Salim Durrani if you had to rate him today?
Let me tell you a story. Sometime ago, sometime long back, there was this thing of naming your best ever Indian 11. So many people were asked, कि बताओ, and they reached out to Tiger Pataudi, कि name your best 11. And Tiger being Tiger said, don't waste my time. What shit is this? No, I don't want to get involved in this silly picking of best 11. So he turned them down. So those people asked me, sabne kar diya hai. Why is Tiger creating a fuss? Why don't you ask him? So I told Tiger I knew well. I said, Tiger, it's going to take 5 minutes, kar do. He said, okay. So we decided, 7-8 names are obvious. Then he got a bit confused. Vinu Mankad.
Tiger won't put himself in.
No, of course not. Of course not. So Vinu Mankad or Bishan Bedi, Vishy, Hazare.
But that's spinner for all-rounder.
No, but left arm spinner.
Left-arm spinner, okay.
Then Vishy, Hazare, Dravid, he got a bit confused. He said, chodo, leave it. Then I said, but listen, you have to name 11. He said, ऐसा करो, ये कुछ भी लिख दो, 9-10. Just make sure Salim is in it.
But where would you bat him?
Doesn't matter. He said, just make sure Salim Durrani is in it. So that's how highly people thought of Salim Durrani.
Oh, no, my father used to tell me when he went to Brabant Stadium, Salim Durrani was like sobers for India. Everybody came to watch him bat.
Listen, I watched a lot of Salim Durrani when he was playing Ranji and I was a young guy. There were two sets of people who would come to a game. Some only to watch Salim Bhai play. Salim Bhai out, they would go. Other group was they'd come in the evening to take Salim Durrani out to party in the evening. They were the rich people, fans, and they would be happy.
And Salim never said no to a party.
I don't think he's refused
any
offer.
Yeah, I remember seeing him once at a club. When he as an old man, and my dad said, "This is Salim Durrani, so nice and with such a great background and all that, but so humble and
he
self."
He was phenomenal. Let me tell you one more story about him. He was playing a Ranji Trophy match. I was a kid, and you could actually sit with Salim Bhai and with the Ranji Trophy players. So Salim Durrani was padded up. He was batting next, and he was chatting with me. And वो पुराने बूढ़े होते थे, and he was sitting in the veranda, सामने ground है. Suddenly out हो गया batsman. So people said, Salim Bhai, you're in now. So Salim Bhai got up. There's no bat.
There's
no bat. So he just sort of rummaged through some people's kit bag and picked up a bat, went in, and it was as if he's sober there.
Tiger also same thing, no?
Tiger
borrow the bat and walk in. Is it true or is this just legend?
I'm not sure about Tiger's story, but Salim Bhai, I've seen this. It happened when I was present.
Would it have happened in a test match?
No.
A test match he has a kit.
No, but we're talking about Tiger, but I got to know him early. I was still in college, and his nephew was with me in college, Amir bin Jang.
Yeah, you mentioned all that in Stephens.
We met him.
By the way, he's from Stephens, where all the rich, powerful people go. And, either political contacts or business contacts, sir, or gangsters. Should
I have kept quiet about this?
I don't know.
Not reveal this.
So these little things reveal a lot more than you know about someone. That's why I like to read a book for the personal insights also.
So, Tiger was, hero, everybody's hero, and we hadn't seen much of Tiger because there was no footage and he played ahead of us, much ahead.
Yeah.
But I got to know him and he was a bit fond of all of us young cricketers, he would humor us. So I asked him a lot about his own cricket and chat cricket. He would never utter a word about his own cricket. He would talk about everybody else. But when I asked him, आपने Melbourne में क्या 148 at Leeds, New Zealand, dismiss.
Yeah.
Ignore.
Hmm.
Then he'd come occasionally to umpire some of our social matches.
Hmm.
Mr. Sandhya used to organize these social matches where some media persons, corporate heads, MPs, and others would come and have a good game. Tiger would come umpire both ends. Idhar bhi, udhar bhi. And
it's a Nawab after all. यार. You can't say no.
मैं आधे घंटे के लिए आया हूँ. Why should I waste my time on the other end?
Of course.
But he would never even touch a bat. Not even hold a bat and do this which everybody
The
tells to
shadow
do.
batting.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So one day, this Rajbhai was very great friend of. Can
I just segue there for a second?
Yeah.
I remember this comment also. I laughed so much. He's talking about these. I know you mean it in jest and not as an insult. There's a lot of royal family members were in the Rajasthan side, and they all bowled really fast. Not really, but they all had run-ups from behind the side screen. But it was your English is better than mine. You've mentioned very nicely for the slow medium. Because growing up, you always had that guy who runs up with 32 steps and then it's not that quick.
It's not meant to be insulting, but the thing is, Rajasthan cricket was dominated by the so-called princes.
Regal families.
It was funded by Maharana Udaipur, and he employed people like Veenu Mankad, Salim Durrani, even Subhash Gupte, Surti, others, sort of gave them jobs, and they played for Rajasthan. So he funded it. And with him, there was this set of other princes who made the team, like Raj Singh, Hanuman Singh, his cousin Suryaveer Singh, Arvind Kumar Singh, Mahipinder Singh.
Who was the fastest?
No, but Raj Singh ji had
the outswing.
Raj Singh ji has got 250 Ranji wickets.
Correct.
But he is the one who used to bowl gentle outswing, running and from a long way. But that's not the point. We're talking Tiger. Now,
always a diplomat. No, listen, we love Raj Singh.
So
Raj
Singh ji was a great fan and friend of Tiger. So one day he tells me, Tiger was the best ever fielder in India. So I said, Azhar, Surti, Abid Ali, so many. And at the time, young Jadeja. So I said, he said, no, Tiger.
Yuvraj Kaif.
वो बाद में थे. He said, no, Tiger. So next time I met Tiger, I said, Tiger, Rajbhai was saying this about you. He said, you know Raj? I said, yeah, he's mad. So that was the end of the story. And
nothing brought up who do you rate as the best? You see them all. You've seen Tiger Field, which we haven't.
No, I haven't seen much of him.
Point.
I didn't see much.
I think at Point.
Point cover, but he must have been exceptional. I really, so many people have said so, and they couldn't be wrong in their assessment. But when you're on Tiger, two interesting stories. Maybe we are consuming too much time on Tiger, but one is what Sunny related yesterday. Sunny was part of a young Wazir Sultan tobacco team in Moinudollah. So the tradition then was a senior guy would be captain, Tiger, Jaisima, Hanuman Singh, whoever, and there would be the other 9, 10 would be young, promising college, university cricketers. So Sunny was one of them.
So this is before he goes to West Indies?
Before he goes to West Indies. So the problem was the team didn't know how to address Tiger. Kya bulaye? Nawab Saab, captain, skip, bat, what? So Sunny was told, aap pooch ke aao. It's your job. Ready, go check with him how he should be addressed. So they were playing a game, fielding. Batsman got out. Tiger was at cover. Sunny at mid-off. So while this break, Sunny went up to him and said, sir, I've been asked. Tiger was bent down. He was tying his shoelaces. So Sunny said, Tiger finished tying his shoelaces, looked up at me, got up, smiled and walked away. No answer.
So what did they do, sir?
Skip, captain, Nawab Saab.
Wow. But was Tiger, he was too cool for all this anyway. It wouldn't matter.
I knew him well and I found him A, thoroughly modest. B, it is a bit of a stereotype, but a complete British gentleman. He was
very good Urdu poetry as well.
And scarily punctual. And courteous and polite to the extent of causing embarrassment. I'd go and meet him. He'd walk me out till the porch and wait till my car came. He didn't do that. He's Tiger. I'm one kid.
True.
But that kind of,
his son Saif does the same thing for me. And we live so far away, but he still checks on the phone. Have you reached?
That shows how powerful you are.
But I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge romantic about that era, the Tiger, Jaisima, Bishan Singh Bedi era.
Final thing about Tiger.
Which you were,
There was this, we were on a tour with the Indian team and, one evening there's over dinner there's this usual conversation कि हमारे पहले जो खिलाड़ी थे वो कैसे थे, how do they compare with us, what is Hazare like, Manjrekar, Tiger, etc. And this is a young group of Dravid, Tendulkar, Ganguly.
They actually asked these questions.
They are discussing all.
They remembered Hazare and all. I'm very impressed.
Yes, some do, some don't. Huh? So there was a discussion going on.
Naam to le lo, sir. Let's put that down in the book, yaar. We start with the opener, Sehwag, Jankari.
So there was a discussion and somebody said, what's so special about Tiger? Yaar, his average is this, itna hi match khela hai, ye hai, wo hai.
Achha, as a batsman.
As a batsman.
Okay.
Finally, and then this is what Sachin said. He said to Dada, Dada, cricket do aankh se bhi mushkil hoti hai.
Fair enough.
So that closed the argument.
I've tried that. My son sitting here, you actually tried that, batting with one eye. And it's impossible.
Listen, I find it's
actually
exactly
what Sachin says.
It's actually impossible with even two.
True.
Yeah, but we can talk endlessly about Tiger and others because they were a different era and different set of.
Let's quickly before we start running out of time, let's quickly talk about Stevens, because then you come to this college, which I don't think was. It's a posh college and lots of famous people. Not so much cricket crazy, I would think. But the names that you mentioned, very interesting.
No, actually, it is completely cricket crazy.
Yeah.
And you had this great Hindu college versus St. Stephen's College rivalry.
Yeah.
And can you imagine?
Sunil Gavaskar, who was the lesser known of the 83, I think, was a Hindu college boy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was Hindu.
Yeah.
And actually...
was he quick?
Scarily quick.
Really?
Especially on matting.
Oh.
So we were together in the intervarsity team and he was bowling on matting and people are happy that we are in his team.
On the same side.
But the Hindu college, St. Stephen's College was one very well-known rivalry.
Yeah.
There used to be a 5-day game and quality players because maybe half the Hindu team and half the St. Stephen's team was playing Ranji Trophy and some of them were playing in contention for India, etc. And because of the 5-day final, the entire Delhi University was shut officially. Can you imagine just an inter-college cricket final?
Yeah.
But all colleges in Delhi are shut because everybody is expected to go and watch the final.
Would this still happen?
No. Now there are no teams. St. Stephen's doesn't have a college team.
Now they're academies.
I don't know what else, but certainly not cricket.
Wow. Arunal was an interesting bit that you mentioned there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how good Arunal really was. I think his career was sort of cut short. And of course, he bumped into Gavaskar and there's always the problem finding the second opener, etc., etc. But tell us a little bit about your interactions with Arunal.
Arun is a very close friend because we were in college together and we've kept in touch and he's a fantastic guy and one of the sharpest cricket minds, Cyrus, if you talk to people in the cricket world and ask them to name, say, 10 guys who are sharp, who understand, who have integrity, whom you would give any kind of job in cricket, most guys won't be able to tell you more than 4 or 5. Because actually there is shortage of people to meet all these
thinkers, philosophers, visionaries, all that.
And integrity and everything. So Arun is one of them.
Integrity तो नहीं है sir. अभी 2023 में वो कहाँ से आएगा?
Integrity is not. But the point is there are very few guys who are good in every way. So Arun was one of those. He came from Mayo College.
Yeah.
And surprisingly was rejected by Rajasthan schools.
Fantastic.
But he came to college and there he sort of made good very quickly. And he also had a bit of luck. The BCCI started an under-22 tournament.
Yeah.
And he became captain of Delhi only because he was captain of St. Stephen's College. Not on merit really, but in a bit of nepotism. Because St. Stephen's College is captain, so he's good enough to be Delhi captain. And Delhi had a very strong team, but Lal was made captain. He failed 3 innings. And he only got 4 innings. We could get 2 matches.
Right.
So in the last innings, he made a 40 not out or something. And Delhi won. तो ये होता है कि दिल्ली जीती है तो नॉर्थ जोन का भी कैप्टन उसी को बना हाँ बिकॉज द जोन टीम बनती है ना तो लाल बिकेम जोन कैप्टन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट ब्लडी 40 he made after failing 3 times and you had the north zone under 22 team which was body team with Kapil Dev ye wo and serious guys and suddenly Lal is captain and then they play this zonal north versus west etc there Lal made 300 the next 4 innings which made him probable
so
for
against
India.
better opposition also. But
I'm just saying that's how quickly
I think he makes a 99 against Kim Hughes' touring side.
Yeah. So immediately after these big runs in the under 22, Kim Hughes, and he was, I think, overnight 98 or 99. So
okay.
next day, sorry, that's how cricket goes.
Really fantastic. Piyush Pandey is also part of that group.
Piyush
You
Pandey
mentioned.
was with me in
People
school.
don't know that he was a keeper.
Yeah, he was with me in school. And
Pretty good?
Yes, Piyush was good. And Piyush, and we came from Jaipur to Cincinnati. We
Yeah,
played together.
Yeah.
And Piyush is like family. Actually, so is Arun. And Piyush was also my captain in Rajasthan for one team. And we were very close friends and things. But I don't know what happened in one game. He called me after the game. He said, "Mere kamre mein aana shaam ko." Then,
Which is not an invite.
it's a threatening thing.
Threat, yeah.
Threat. So I said, Piyush, kya ho gaya? He said, "No, you, I don't know, you didn't behave properly today on the field or something. और अगली बार किया तो मैं घर भेज दूंगा." I said, what a threat, यार. घर भेज
हुआ
दूंगा. कुछ नहीं. But Piyush is a great guy.
As in batting was bad or
No, I don't know.
तमीज से बात नहीं
Maybe
की.
I don't know. I still don't know. But Piyush played a few games.
So Piyush was imagining. He was already
maybe.
creative at that point
Creative.
also.
He invented a grouse. Invented a grouse.
And fired you. It's amazing. Yeah.
But great guy. He played good cricket.
Were you ever at his house in Malabar Hill?
I've been to all his houses.
Okay. Because he used to bring my German Shepherd up. We used to live close by. When I'm walking, he said, come up. And he's the first and only person to pilau him whiskey.
Well, he was drinking whiskey.
He'd show me the technique. Put the finger in and then give it to the dog.
Oh, but I'm surprised. I thought he would have finished the whiskey himself.
वो हो गया. But बहुत चेले
So he was generous
लोग बहुत है.
उसको भी पिला दो.
हाँ नहीं चेले लोग बहुत है. So from each glass he would take one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Let's now move on to the actual career. So how did you get into the BCCI's frame of things?
Listen, I had a lucky break because I was a young officer, joined the railways. Mr. Sandhya was the railway minister and he was very fond of cricket. So वहाँ होता है कि मिनिस्टर साहब खेल रहे हैं तो जो young officers आप भी जाओ. So I went, and it's not difficult to make runs because of the quality of cricket.
Ouch!
So
Sindhya Saab was a good batsman?
He was a coached cricketer. And keen, and he was not an anadi. He was a fairly good cricketer, club cricketer. So anyway, I became his opening partner, and he was sort of fond of me, and we played well. But I was always scared कि कहीं मैंने run out करा दिया तो क्या होगा? Because after all, I am one.
You can't say anything.
I'm the junior most railway officer. He's railway minister. Yeah, the hierarchy is like this. But anyway, he was very kind.
Did it happen?
It didn't.
It should have happened. Imagine, what would have been your reply? I mean, normally you'd stare at the other batsman. What would you do? You'd be like, "ठीक है, sir."
No, but he was extraordinarily kind to me.
Yeah.
And he, out of turn almost, made me in charge of all railway sports, which was something 10 years beyond my seniority, at least. Not only that, he appointed me secretary railway sports and passed an order that anything on sports in the railways will move directly from me to him, which means he's taken out all the bureaucracy.
Wow.
And as secretary railway sports, I'm on the BCCI. And I'm on every national federation, hockey, football, volleyball, So that certainly opened everything for me in terms of cricket. Which was not supposed to be. I joined the government as a normal officer. It was an accident.
You just wanted to bat. Be honest, yaar.
So wo ho gaya, and then he became board president.
Right. Yeah.
So I started running his office. And then he was just, I think I'm lucky that he found me worthy of his trust. And he sort of made things happen for me.
Okay, then so the first managership was where? Was it 92?
Yeah, that is 92.
Okay, and you're just 34, 35, you're a young man.
35.
And you've got these big stars in the team that you deal with. How well do you know them? Because being a boy from the north, you in the zonals and all that, you may know some of these cricketers.
I knew some of them. I knew Kapil and others because of Delhi. And I was following cricket and I was writing on cricket also from a very early age. So I knew some of them. But it wasn't difficult. But I found the entire thing of being manager a bit embarrassing in the beginning.
Why?
Firstly, I realized as soon as we went to South Africa that in terms of protocol, I'm the boss.
Oh.
There's Ajit Wadekar, there's Azharuddin. But on a tour, the manager gets...
So off the field, you're the boss completely.
I'm leader of the delegation.
Right.
In terms of protocol, I come first.
Yeah.
When we are in a hotel, I get a suite, not others.
Wow.
Only the captain and coach
You
get a
should have
suite.
kept it this way, yaar. Itne bade stars ban gaya abhi, yaar. They don't listen.
Only the captain and coach get a suite.
Oh, they got, yeah.
No, sorry, the manager and captain.
But today they all get, right?
No. Even now it's the same. The manager and
the captain
and the captain.
So in case you want a career in cricket, remember manager, captain and
That's
coach.
All. No, coach doesn't get a
Coach is coach only.
Coach is coach.
Economy,
So it was embarrassing. Ajit Wadekar is the coach.
Yeah.
But in terms of protocol and everything.
And he's older.
And he's Wadekar,
Yeah, he's Wadekar, ex-captain, senior guy, everything. Yeah.
But I get precedence in everything. So that was a bit embarrassing.
It's a famous line, no, from any fight in Delhi. Janta hu mere baap kaun hai. It's that thing. Yeah.
So ek to ye. And secondly, more embarrassing was that at the end of the tour, I'm supposed to write a report on everybody. The team, the performance, players, individuals.
Negative stuff also?
Everything. So if I have to write a report on you, okay, how did you perform? What is your discipline like? Are you well behaved? Are you committed? Are you professional? You know? So imagine somebody like me writing a report on Kapil Dev.
But kuch to kuch aa jayega if you're writing a detailed report. Everything will be perfect.
मैंने बड़ा शर्म में होता है कुछ लिखा.
What will you write about Kapil Dev, the great Kapil Dev? I mean,
वो मैंने कुछ बकवास लिखी.
लिखी.
But the point is, it didn't really matter. कोई पढ़ता नहीं है उसको. तो कुछ भी लिख दो. तो कुछ भी लिख दो.
Third umpire.
तो कुछ भी लिख दो.
That's true. Yeah. Well, today everything leaks also, so we don't know how these things come back to haunt you.
No, but listen, so much has changed. We went on that tour. We were a total group of 17. 14 players, Ajit, me, and one Dr. Ali Irani.
Oh, of course, very
Ali,
famous.
The legendary Ali
Yeah.
Irani. So Ali would do every other job. He would help out with everything. And in fact, as there were only 17, Ali and I would do the fielding drills. Yeah,
Really?
we'll do throwdowns, we'll do high catches, run out wale.
But you're a cricketer, what about
But
Ali?
still, we are not supposed to, na?
Yeah.
I'm the manager, and Ali is the physio trainer.
वो BCCI पर पैसा बचाने के लिए they thought of all this.
Now there are 20.
Now ball handler भी होगा.
नहीं 20 आदमी टीम में होते हैं और 20 support staff.
Exactly.
Now the entire group is 40.
In reality or
In
just
reality,
exaggerating?
in reality.
So we have a 40-member team and we
With
travel.
tours, yeah. We have at least 20 people as support staff.
Wow.
Masseurs, physiotherapists, yoga guy, strength and conditioning expert, a media person, a social media person, travel and logistics guy, finance guy, the works. So there are 8 and there are throwdown experts. So 15, 18, 20 आदमी वो होते हैं. There are 15, 16 members of the team and 3 or 4 net bowlers. So you have a group of 40.
Wow.
So cricket was very different at that time. Now you don't need a manager.
Good for our country because we're overpopulated. So we need to put as many people on a bus and send them to South Africa. जाओ.
अब क्या है कि manager की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Because whatever he was doing earlier, there is somebody specialist doing it now.
Plus online भी हो सकते हैं.
So now the only thing the manager does is he has to he has to pretend to be busy and he has to distribute match tickets.
Okay. Fair enough. But you're being a little modest, Amritji, because all said and done, 92 must have been lots of pressure. We don't have time to get into details. Read the book because I have to take a break. But as you're going to break, one quick story, if you could tell us that Kepler Vessel's Kapil Dev incident, which I saw live. And I remember we've argued in bars over this in that season time and again कि exactly हुआ क्या, गलती किसके है, and you said Clive Lloyd ducked giving a decision on that whole thing. But
listen, but I'm really amazed at how careful
I remember
the book.
No, because I
I'm sure
don't call it racism.
I'm sure even Kapil doesn't remember this.
He hit Kapil.
He hit Kapil.
Okay, I saw him hit Kapil. Let's say just Aam Aadmi is watching TV, whatever skin color country. You put the volume off, you see this guy has assaulted our player. Yeah. And Clive Lloyd just brushed it under the carpet. So, and you mentioned it. You've been actually quite candid.
No, it was very clear that Kepler came for a run and he was going back, and while
he didn't like him standing where he was standing.
वहाँ पे वो crease में बैठ के बोला, he hit Kapil on the ankle.
Yeah.
With his back, very deliberate, very deliberate like this, and ran back. Now, we all saw it. So when I think during a break or something, Kapil came and said, "ये हुआ है." So as manager, I'm supposed to file a report and to the match referee, which I did. And the match referee called everybody for inquiry.
Clive Lloyd,
Clive Lloyd, and everybody knew what the truth was. But there's evidence. Vessel says मैंने नहीं मारा. Kapil कह रहा है उसने मारा.
उसने कहा कि I didn't do it deliberately. वो contact तो हुआ. He can't deny that.
Deliberately, while taking a run, it happens. So it became A's word against B's word, and the crucial thing was television footage to determine what the intent was. And the SABC, the South African Broadcasting Corporation.
Sounded like a gali for a second. So when you told me, I thought I said something wrong. SABC. Hey, tu SABC, sir.
What does it remind you of? You got a wicked mind.
Afrikaans. I speak
Wicked,
Afrikaans.
wicked. So anyway, SABC conveniently said there was some technical glitch and we don't have this footage. Can you imagine? There's a test match going
You
on.
serious?
Yeah, they said this.
They cowed it
Then
completely.
हाँ कि वो 1 minute का वो footage नहीं है.
Oh, they didn't want the controversy because it was a good
Whatever,
series.
but
Bye
the
and all that.
inquiry went flat on the basis that Clive said, I have no evidence. It's A versus B. But I got the feeling that A, they deliberately withheld that footage. Secondly, Clive was under some pressure because don't forget, this is apartheid is dismantling.
And then you've got a black guy, brown guy
against a white guy.
guy.
So I think Clive ducked it.
Yeah.
And that's the impression I got because every time I met Clive after that, he didn't look me in the eye.
He never said, how's Cap's ankle? As good as his auntie.
So I think, that is... And in this entire episode, the most worried person was Ali Bakar. Because he didn't want any controversy to mar that tour.
Right.
Because he wanted it to be... The tour to be shown as South Africa's great return to international cricket. Everything is fine. There's good cricket on. It's a friendly
I think he was
atmosphere.
hoping that at least the coloured cricketer in the side, if he was to hit Kapil, then that would be okay. Let's not have a racial element to it.
Yeah, but it was a strange tour because, as I said, there's a political minefield. Plus, from the cricket standpoint, it was like playing blind cricket. You are
Right.
going there, you have no idea कहाँ जा रहे हो, about the players, all the conditions, all the pitches, all the venues. You don't know anything.
You mentioned all that, except
You
for
don't know
Ravi,
anything.
who played on the English circuit.
Yeah.
Nobody knew these guys.
And he knew some of them.
Yeah.
And when you asked Ravi कि वहाँ पे क्या है, he said, jacaranda के flowers बड़े अच्छे होते हैं. So that was the only intelligence about the tour.
Ravi Shastri and botany. We are discovering a new every...
Jacaranda is very beautiful.
What the hell is jacaranda?
We didn't know. So we had to check. ये क्या कह रहा है?
Not bad. If he knows his trees and leaves
He
and all
knows
that.
his trees, but we had to find out.
Yeah. Okay, Amrit, we have to take a quick break. We've gone way over time, but we come back and try and get some more from the book. Amrit Mathur tells all in Pitchside. Lots of funny, interesting stories as well as controversial, and more importantly, just the journey of a cricket mad nut, which he is from start to finish.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton Doctor is joined by Siddharth Warrior, a renowned neurologist. They delve into the fascinating link between the human brain and our habits. Their discussion spans topics such as habit formation in humans, the early development of habits in infants, the impact of aging on our habits, and an in-depth exploration of how age, habits, and brain function intertwine to shape our daily lives. On All Things Policy, Anupam Manur and Sarthak Pradhan analyze and discuss some recent literature and trends on industrial policy. They discuss some important questions such as, should the state shape the composition of economic activity? What are some arguments in favor of and against the use of industrial policy? And a lot more. Folks, if you like our shows, spread the word. Tell your friends and do not forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life, IDFC First Bank, and Save Life Foundation. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Back here, Amrit is at first slip. I can call you Amrit, no?
Yes, of
Because now I'm
course.
52 years old.
Of
I can't
course.
say Gigi anymore.
No,
yaar.
of course not. I get embarrassed.
I know.
And I feel old.
Remember Tiger?
Yes,
Tying the
absolutely.
shoelace. Yes. Learn from that. Yeah. Okay, so let's 92. I'll go to 2003 first, then come back to 96 World Cup. 2003 is another. You're now media manager.
Yeah,
it's a
but
different role altogether,
yeah,
and it's a World Cup. No, what was your? I mean, years have passed. You're now, you know everybody. You're almost the senior guy now.
Yeah.
You're back in South Africa.
Yeah, but that is 2003 World Cup.
Yeah.
But before that was NatWest 2002.
England.
So I was part of that too.
Right.
And
That 326 chase, right?
yes,
In the final.
Yes. And I keep saying that I was present at some of the iconic moments of Indian
Shirt.
cricket.
Yeah.
Going back, Sunny making runs in his last innings at Bangalore against Pakistan.
Oh, the
and
best, one of the
Imran.
best innings in the history of
Yeah,
cricket, the
so-
96
so-
on the
so-
turning wicket.
So I was there.
Huh.
I was there when he made his 29th 100 in Delhi. Where he
105, no? Yeah.
whatever. And some of the iconic moments were also like, Saurav Ganguly doing
The shirt.
what he did.
Simon
and
go
what,
home.
And what Salman Khan has been doing for the last 21 years.
For more money, though.
Yeah,
So-
more money.
Saurav, please.
But Saurav is the inspiration, I'm sure.
Whose abs are better? We'll let you decide.
Yes, public faisla kare.
But now.
So I was there, and then South Africa 2003. But by that time, I was not in the BCCI as a member. But Mr. Dalmia had sort of some.
He was not the ICC chairman, I think, at that time?
No, he finished with that.
He
But he was the
finished,
boss. He was the Don. He was the man who mattered in Indian
Emeritus, as they say.
a man who mattered in Indian cricket. So he would put me in assignments where somebody with some kind of brains was needed. So I got appointed in some designation, but I went to NatWest and I went to 2003 South Africa and then to Pakistan. So 2003 was good. We were in a mess midway. And then things changed and we reached the final. But lots of things happened in that tour.
Some great moments that I remember watching that tournament, of course, is that 6 for 20 odd Nehra.
Yeah,
which
6
Srinath
for
says
19 or 20.
6 for 19. Where I think Srinath says, you quoted in the book, best spell he's ever seen by an Indian bowler.
Yeah, because at that day it looked that he's going to take a wicket every ball.
And this is the young kid who was spotted by Arun Lal in your book again and said, ye to khelega India ke liye.
And Nehra was absolutely unplayable. And in that same game, there's this particular shot by Sachin of Caddick. You know, Durban is a ground chota and Caddick ne short ball kiya, hit him. It went beyond the clubhouse into some bloody jungle piche. And there's this Qasim Dokrat, who's the boss of Natal, Durban cricket. He said, in my 40 years, I have not seen a shot like that.
Yeah.
And Sachin actually remembers that. And he made a 50, but then got out, you know.
But for me, the best Sachin Sehwag hammering of Shoaib and Wasim Akram at the India-Pakistan match. That was
the Centurion game.
That Centurion game. That was just, that batting was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. That was the first time I thought.
Okay, let me tell you a story about Sachin from that game.
Yeah.
We went to Centurion, and Centurion, the pavilion is high. You have to walk almost 70 steps down to reach the ground.
Right.
So in the morning, there's usual warm-up hota hai, players go, they have a cup of tea, they go down, they do a bit of stretching, they do a bit of knocking, they look at the pitch, come back. So Sachin did all that. That's his usual prep. He'll take his bat and do a very minor knocking and look at the wicket. Came back, as he said, what does it look like? He said, हाँ मैं देख लिया, ठीक लगता है. Then he tells me कि मैं उधर गया था थर्ड मैन पे, वहाँ पे जो घास है, it is pointing towards the pitch.
What does that mean?
What does it mean? Exactly. ये घास जो है थर्ड मैन बाउंड्री पे,
Maharashtrians, I tell you.
वो it is pointing towards the pitch. तो मैंने सोचा तो क्या होगा? He said, बॉल वहाँ जाएगी तो वो स्लो हो जाएगी. हाँ, थोड़ा स्लो डाउन होगा तो थर्ड मैन से हम 2 रन ले सकते हैं.
Wow.
So I said, listen, a normal guy, when he goes to the ground
Only Sachin would think like this.
Before a game, he looks at the pitch, he might look at the cloud cover, he might look at moisture, he might look at bounce or not.
Only bounce, that's the only thing to worry about.
But you're not going to look at the direction of the blade of grass at third man boundary. So that shows how his mind works.
Did he run doubles?
He must have, I'm sure. But for him to factor that into his brain, कि मैं खेल रहा हूँ वहाँ मैं मारूंगा धीरे से.
Absolute genius. I mean, there's
complete genius. Because, you know, I've seen his aura. That on this first.
I think you compared it to Rajnikant in the book, which I thought was a fantastic thing. Because I think that's
in the '92 tour there was this friendly game. Nicky Oppenheimer, the debate guy,
the famous.
He made a new stadium, and he wanted the Indian team to play, and it's a social game, and he created the stadium. He invited his guests from all over the world who came in private planes. There was these marquees and a great show, and it rained, barish, and no play.
Oh.
And these are guests who come all over the world in private jets, and they're waiting, drinking, and not getting any cricket. So late in the afternoon, बड़ी कोशिश हुई सुखाने की, जो भी हो सकता है. Then Ali Bagar came and said, listen, can we get some game, you know? So I asked the boys, and they said, मुश्किल है, but we'll try. So we played some cricket, and in a short spell, Sachin made 100.
in like 15-20 overs.
I must have, and it was friendly bowling, but he made 100. So Ali came and said, there's first time there are so many journalists here, and they want to have a chat with Sachin. Can he come? No, this is 30 years ago. We were not even familiar with 20 TV cameras at a ground, and certainly Sachin was not familiar with this. But he went, fronted those cameras and spoke for 5 minutes. And Ali said, this guy is a superstar. So, wo match ho gaya. And then, after all these years, Sachin's sort of estimation in Ali's eyes has grown. So now he says, he was always a superstar. Now I think he's next to just one step behind Bradman.
Wow.
But the difference is everybody likes Sachin.
That's true.
So the implication is, you know what?
Especially his own teammates.
Yes.
I didn't know that about Bradman. I started reading books about him that he was so unpopular.
That's what Ali said. But I've seen during the 2003 World Cup, for instance, we played a match at Pal against Netherlands. We won easily.
Yeah.
After the game, the entire Netherlands team, their wives, children, families, standing in a queue
With Sachin.
to wanting a photograph with Sachin. There was this famous match in India where Wasim Akram's team, we lost at Chennai.
Chennai, 136.
Yeah, we were on 136, but we lost.
Yeah.
Chennai, both the dressing rooms are next to each other, at least in those days.
They gave a standing ovation to the Pakistan team.
Yeah.
Talk about world peace. Yeah.
So, dono dressing rooms are next to each other. And I remember Sachin coming out of the Indian dressing room. The Pakistani team was standing there. They just moved away. You know, let the great man pass.
Yeah.
So that's unsaid. But that's the point about Bahubali, yaar. He's Rajnikant.
Yeah, true.
And that was long ago. But 2 years ago, Akash Chopra, me and Sachin were at Lord's in the media center. I don't know kya match tha. Aise hi, so we were chatting pre-game. Suddenly, we saw Jimmy Anderson come and stand behind. And he waited till we finished our conversation. So as soon as there was a gap in conversation, he said, Sachin, can I have a photograph with you?
Wow.
Can you imagine Jimmy Anderson?
Yeah.
He's not
Jimmy Anderson,
he's Jimmy
arguably
Anderson.
the best English bowler of the generation.
Requesting Sachin Tendulkar for a photograph.
And of course, Tendulkar must have said no because of India, England.
No, that's the kind of aura the man has.
Yeah.
And you don't have to look at different things to see why he's special.
Yeah.
You just have to see his kit bag, the way it's arranged.
Yeah.
To see that this man is...
He also sits on the same seat you mentioned again in the book.
It's the first row left.
What happens if I'm a young kid and I don't know the rules and I get into the bus and I take that seat because I'm just ahead?
No, somebody will say, "Ye Sachin ki hai."
Immediately. This is Mumbai railway culture. This is just mafia-giri that goes on as you become
that's
famous.
just respect because I think he's...
Little superstition also? Possibly?
I'm sure he has superstitions, but the one who's got much more superstition is our Dada, Saurav.
Really?
Yeah. He's changed his number a few times. He'll wear all kinds of dhagas on his neck. Yahan pe, he does all kinds of prayers.
Wow.
And depending on the day and the tashan, he'd be either the first to leave the bus or the last to leave.
Oh my God.
So everybody has his own...
You had to deal with a lot of things.
No, I just noticed. I
Yeah.
was just smart enough to understand what is happening.
No, we were trying to figure out why the captain is not leaving the bus. You know what I mean? Everybody's left.
Okay, let me tell you one more thing. This entire thing of sort of getting under the skin of everybody.
Steve Vaughan, famously,
It's all a myth.
But he did come late for the toss.
Listen, not
that
it was deliberate. I'll tell you one instance. We have this World Cup game, India playing Australia. Again at Centurion. And we lost very badly. So right at the beginning of the World Cup. The reason for the delay was there was this discussion कि toss में क्या करना है. Okay? Batting करना है, नहीं करना है. And there was no consensus. There was disagreement. And the umpires have gone in. Steve was waiting, and there's a discussion going on कि क्या करना है. And I was told that Ravi से बात करो. Ravi Shastri. Ravi was, I think, on commentary or something.
Correct.
So I'm trying to get Ravi on the phone. I can't get through.
Should have called Mandira.
She would have given us a decision about bat or ball.
Sir ji hai, isme hai. Please buy the book. Everything is there. 2003 is well etched out.
So maybe at times Saurav did do this deliberately, but on that occasion the delay was because there was he was waiting for somebody to help him out.
Yeah.
But after a while.
So it's not a mental disintegration, psychological warfare game.
No,
that it's too much.
That's just been played up by the media. And that day, for instance, the delay was because we couldn't decide what he had to do.
Yeah.
So ultimately, when we couldn't get Ravi, he just walked out and lost the toss. So didn't have to make a decision.
Yeah. So. Taken from him. Fair enough. Okay, we have lots more to talk about, but I also have the AMAs to do. So in short, I just want to see what we can cover. 2004 Pakistan tour and 1996 World Cup, where India's power as a
I think Pakistan
power.
is more interesting.
Yeah, let's go straight to Pakistan then. We play them after so many years. And again, like 1992, it's a political issue now for you.
Yeah.
You're in charge of go ahead.
Yeah, it started with, there was this great debate whether India should go or not. Maybe partly political, partly because of a genuine security issue. Is it safe for the Indian team to travel? So 3 of us were sent to Pakistan to check out
Recce.
Security Recce. And we went on a fantastic Pakistan darshan. We went from Lahore to Karachi to Gujranwala to Multan to Peshawar to every... But very early we were told that the Pakistan establishment wanted the tour, and they said whatever the Indian team or the Indian people want should happen, but tour होगा. जो भी चाहिए वो उनसे पूछ लो, सीख लो, होगा. So tour हुआ, we went, and there was this elaborate security cover laid out. Again, let me give you an example that Karachi is again like say Chowpatty to Nariman Point. The road is blocked off because the Indian team is traveling. On every major building there's a sniper.
My God.
Every crossing there's a rapid action force gaadi. There's an armored vehicle ahead of the bus, armored vehicle behind the bus. There are motorcycle aage, motorcycle piche, and 2 commandos in the bus, and a helicopter on top of the bus to escort. So everybody got scared, not because of the threat, but because of the level of security. But anyway, and despite all this shosha, but there was this security massive thing. On one occasion in Karachi, we found 2 young boys in the team bus.
Strangers?
Strangers. सब चढ़ रहे थे बस में, वो भी चढ़ गए, and they were taking autographs. And you got 2 commandos who
but innocent guys.
Innocent guys.
Fans.
But I'm just saying
I know,
how the system can leak. You know,
where are the commandos?
Commandos are sitting there in the bus.
But they're not supposed to let
So
them.
after a while we realized कि कौन आगे दो, कि then गाड़ी रोको इनको
कोई
उतारो.
पहचान था?
नहीं कोई पहचान नहीं.
फिर?
ऐसे ही वो चढ़ गए.
This is
सब चढ़ रहे थे, वो भी चढ़ गए.
so worse in India. What's going on?
On another occasion, there was this one commando who was with the team all the time. You know, and he would sit with his right in front, next to the driver on the left. तो एक दिन वो कहता है वो किसी प्लेयर को सर 1 मिनट पकड़ना है इसको.
Wow. कौन था?
I don't remember. He just gave that weapon to a player. Said, मैं जरा सचिन साहब के autograph ले लूँ.
क्या बात है?
So, and they used to
So
wear
that's a
this,
double insulting if you're a senior cricketer. एक गन पकड़, second में सचिन के autograph लेके जाता है.
No, and they used to have this the commandos. They would wear black
Correct.
t-shirt and black track bottoms and black that bandana or whatever. And on the back they used to have this message: "No fear." So those are the crack commandos which are with us all the time. So the security was the issue.
But I remember everybody came back saying, reading from Ayaz Memon's columns and all that the treatment was fantastic.
It was phenomenal.
The
I remember there were some friends of mine who went from India and they had a young kid who was waving the Indian flag in a game. So after वो थक गया बेचारा, वो कितनी देर तक वो करेगा. So the Pakistani sitting next to him said, यार तू थक गया है, give us your flag, we'll do it.
Wow,
so which they did. So and we had this many occasions.
I hope this kid grows up to be Prime Minister of either country. These two, who knows, they might solve all the problems 20 years from now.
The actual warmth and positivity was amazing. And there were many occasions when you went to a restaurant, somebody's paid you bill. You know, you don't know. You asked for the bill.
I believe he's not from the Indian team.
No, you asked for the check and said, sir, वो साहब बार जो थे उन्होंने कर दिया.
Just a stranger.
Just a stranger. He doesn't
And they don't even show their face.
No, nothing.
Just out of love.
It's not that he's come and met you also. He just said कि वो
please, government, solve problems with Pakistan. I want to go. Because for conjuice like me, I mean, it sounds like heaven.
You say money?
Yeah, of course. You just smile and say, I love Pakistan or whatever it takes, yeah. And butter chicken khila do. Or ek do paratha. Why not? Why not?
No, we went to Wagah. The Indian team went to Wagah. And we are on the Pakistani side.
Yeah.
And suddenly the Pakistani people are cheering the Indian team.
Wow.
Now, the Indians on the left don't know what the commotion is about.
They're wondering.
Why what cheering is going on. Then they also spot the Indian team. So you got both sides cheering the Indian team.
I think we've got a genius idea here to solve diplomatic relations between countries. You keep the sports teams at the border. We'll make one pitch there.
You know, the major rock star, the superstar of the tour was Balaji.
Yeah, I remember. And that song in the background, of course.
You know, everywhere. Well, even at Wagah, they were all actually screaming Balaji's name.
He hit those big sixes to win a game.
It all started.
Irfan and him in the.
It all started because there was this game and which India lost. But Balaji fought and he sort of made some.
Showed a lot of guts. Yeah.
So there was this reception by the Pakistan president, and he said, "I'm a Fauji. I'm a general. I admire the spirit of Balaji who tried so hard for his team." So suddenly the Balaji cult started after that, and. There was this function at LUMS, Lahore University Management Studies, which is the equivalent of IITs, IIMs. So they wanted an interaction with some of the players. So I went with Dravid and Irfan and Balaji. There's an auditorium of 500 people. And as you're walking up to the auditorium, people are screaming Balaji's name.
This with Dravid, one of the greatest batsmen of the generation.
As if Balaji is like SRK into 5.
Wow. Fantastic.
And so Balaji was the center of attention. वो फिल्मों में कहते हैं ना sleeper hit.
हाँ.
So Balaji
Sleeper
was
hit,
the
sleeper
sleeper
hit.
hit.
Yeah.
And but he was so embarrassed.
But he was a very charismatic guy. Remember the smile and all that. He had that
great, smile and looked very happy. But he was also very sort of practical.
Yeah.
He said, it's all very good to get all this, attention, but who will remember me in Chennai?
All right. The book is called Pitchside Amrit Mathur's Journey. It's not complete, as in the journey is not complete, the book is. And unfortunately, we are running out of time. I want to do the AMAs. But there's IPL, Delhi Daredevils. I wish I had time to ask him, but it's all there in the book because this is the modern era that he comes into where he's still very relevant and very much there in the forefront of Indian cricket. Great anecdotes, great stories. I wish we had him for 20 hours. I think we have so much more we could have got out of you. But we have this AMA section, sir. We need to... वो क्या है कि एक दो fans भी है, paid fans. They send in questions for the guest.
पेपर तो लीक होना चाहिए ना पहले.
हाँ. तो
सब जगह होता है.
अब तो कर दो. So this is from Harvesper from Ahmedabad. He says, hello Cyrus and Mr. Mathur. Do you see the domestic competitions, like, very good question, like Irani Cup, the other trophy, Duleep Trophy, Syed Mushtaq Ali, Vijay Hazare, or for that matter, even the Ranji Trophy being relevant in Indian cricket in the coming future?
Listen, I think the zonal matches, Duleep, Irani, Devdar are irrelevant because in our cricket structure, you remove the concept of a zone. So
that's true.
When there's no zone, there's no point in forming an artificial team because earlier each Ranji team they play within a zone,
sure.
and you made an 11 out of those
Correct.
5 teams.
Yeah.
Now when there's no 5 teams, there's no zone. So I think this zonal structure is irrelevant now.
But also the fact that we are throwing people into red ball cricket straight away without maybe playing enough first class cricket. Yes, or for good or for bad.
No. Obviously, we need to focus more on red ball cricket. We've reached a stage because of IPL and the focus on T20 cricket that people are not only disinterested in red ball cricket, there's disrespect also.
Yeah.
People don't want
Nobody
to play.
bats for long.
Nobody wants to play.
Yeah.
Forget batting for long. They'd rather not play a red ball tournament because it's a waste of time. All you want to do is now get an IPL contract. So you're only focusing on those skills. किसी तरीके से आईपीएल में आ जाओ.
वो तो है but I'm saying it's not just India. आप final test match, Ashes का test match अगर देख सकते हो तो last day पे they were 70 overs to bat with bad light and all that and almost 8 or 9 wickets in hand and they couldn't bat. They should have batted. The wicket didn't do anything. They should have batted out of that.
No, you're right. This thing of patience of occupying the crease is out of fashion now.
It's like it's going to go anyway because the IPL and etc. becomes so strong.
As things are, it was going to only become worse. I think there's going to be more and more preeminence of white ball cricket.
What to do? We'll have to go to YouTube. Manish says, how was it navigating through all that was happening during 1996 World Cup? Which India staged. Will you tell us the story for the match Sri Lanka versus India combined India-Pakistan team that happened before 96 World Cup?
Yeah, that is just to make a point because some other countries are not going to Sri Lanka because of whatever security thing. So this is again Mr. Dalmia's idea that we need to make
But we said Asian countries. वो तो Asian country की issue नहीं था.
Point to prove कि सब ठीक है. So he created his team artificially, sent them there. But
in the end, West Indies and Australia didn't go, right?
Some didn't, but that's how Mr. Dalmia worked.
Well, he tried.
He worked and.
But that team, India-Pakistan team, how did they gel? They get along very well, right? The players.
Very well. Again, let me give you an example because in Pakistan, when you're traveling, very often you're on the same flight.
Right.
At the end of the game, the India and the Pakistan team both are traveling together. So you are checked in and you got one block of seats with the Indians and the other block is the Pakistanis. When the flight takes off, everybody is on either side. So
a mix and match. No tension.
No tension. And there's this particular thing where Moin Khan was penalized by a match referee for, I think, abusing somebody, which happens, and it didn't bother any of the Indians. But anyway, the match referee took notice.
Hey, but he abused in Urdu?
Whatever, he called for an inquiry and punished for bad behavior. So on that flight, everyone was making fun of Moin Khan. Dekh, tere ko to punishment ho gaya. And Moin Khan pleading innocent, mere ko to gaali aati nahi hai. How unfair.
One of my favorite things to hear on a cricket field is Wal ball Saki. And you just hear him in that monotone and you're just saying the same line and Saki is really not doing well that day. Wal ball Saki, Wal ball Saki, Wal ball Saki.
There was this another interesting thing that there was a reception by the Indian High Commissioner in Pindi. And it was toward the end of the tour and I think Shoaib Akhtar by the time I was a bit tired. And I remember him telling Sehwag कि मैं थोड़ा injured हूँ, मैं शायद मेरा problem है fitness की. And Sehwag tells him, हाँ, वो जरा elbow पे मालिश करवा लेना.
क्या? Seriously?
हाँ. Meaning, again इशारा.
Oh.
कि हाँ, problem है elbow मालिश करवा लेना.
This is called Shoaib actor, their own teammates and all that.
But they get along very well, and there's great.
What about
not only as friends, but great respect for the skills and others, because the Indian team was
the best batting lineup we've ever had, I think.
Hugely admire Inzamam and others, the great players. So that's mutual, and they also have the same respect for Tendulkar,
Inzi, Yusuf, Saeed Anwar, all world-class batsmen. In one group of India-Pakistan team, 8 world-class batsmen.
Saeed Anwar, absolutely exceptional.
Top of the line, yeah.
On one tour, when
Mohammad Yusuf also, what a batsman.
Wasim Akram brought a team to India. Shahriyar Khan was the manager.
Yeah.
So I was appointed by the BCCI to be a coordinating officer with them. So I, for the tour, was part of the Pakistani team. I had stayed in their hotel, travelled in their team, stayed in their dressing room. So it was strange that...
BCCI को पता है ना कि they'll pick up the bill.
So I remember Saeed Anwar made that great 180 in a test match in Calcutta. Out of, I think, 280 or something. And there was this internal friction with the Pakistani team. So they can be dysfunctional as individuals, but when it comes to a team, they're there. And exceptional guys, great players.
वो क्या था किताब में? You have those lines, those sledging lines. For Saeed Anwar, the rule is if he makes 100, he won't be fielding.
This is the Indian team saying.
Spot on jokes, It's almost absolutely correct.
Listen, that is, हम कुछ भी किसी के बारे में सोचेंगे, X player is good or Y player is good. The players know exactly who's good. They have their own way of measuring, somebody's ability and contribution. And that is never wrong. They know exactly कौन कितना अच्छा है.
Yeah, but still, what a wonderful batsman. Got to see him live. So that was India-Pakistan. Guy Fawkes, ये भी एक famous individual India में. How real or accurate was the media coverage of Anil Kumble, Virat Kohli rift? So the coach versus captain, considering they had interlapped as...
Listen, I wasn't there at that time, but what I understand, there was some difference because of the way you play cricket. It's like your approach to a game. And maybe Virat has his own strong ideas, and Anil is also very strong-minded. So I can
maybe just a clash of two alpha males who can't be in the same...
But don't forget that both are completely committed to Indian cricket.
And very competitive.
Very competitive. As aggressive. Anil is as aggressive. He doesn't display or demonstrate that. But so that's a genuine difference of opinion. No more.
No, I think they've made up. I think they couldn't get along and function together as a coach and whatever, but I think they attended somebody's wedding or whatever together.
Don't forget that Anil Kumble got 619 tests.
It's fantastic.
And
a century at Lords.
No, not at all.
Sunny Bhai.
Not at all.
Oval, yeah.
Agar kare
has a century at Lords. Sunny Bhai doesn't have.
No, Sunny Bhai made 188.
88, but that doesn't count. The MCC match. मैं तो देखा.
Cotton Bowl Ravi Shastri.
Yes. Wow.
Cotton Bowl Ravi Shastri.
Must have fired him later. Back in the Mumbai dressing room.
188, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay, last question. What innovations would you want to see in cricket formats, T20 and Test, to increase viewership and global research? What more, yaar? Her change pe change. I mean, we can't keep up.
I actually, slightly old world, I don't want change.
Maybe more bouncers.
Maybe, but I don't like this thing of a super sub and एक
No,
extra
yeah, I
player
don't
कर
like
लो,
either, yeah.
एक impact player हो गया या ये हो गया. Not that nonsense. Cricket should be played with 11 and you announce your 11 before the toss and you stick with it. ये थोड़ी कि बार-बार खिलाड़ी ले लिया या आज हमारी bowling weak है, देख
bowling. Saeed Anwar would never field.
एक extra batsman ले लिया, team खराब होगी.
No, I agree with
so
that.
let the captain decide that this is my 11, I have got to play with them.
But let's have more bouncers now, because what happens is the flat wicket bullies get exposed. England, the Ashes exposed. Mark Wood started bowling fast and into the body. He's fantastic, but then whole batting changed after that.
Mark Wood also एक match खेलता है, 3
match नहीं खेलता है.
3 match बैठ जाता है.
Well, that's the modern guy. They're not as tough as us, yaar. Our generation.
But listen, I'm convinced if Kapil Dev was playing today, if Gavaskar
never
was
missed a
playing,
match.
They would not miss a game.
They didn't. They suspended Kapil for trying to hit over the top in that India-England series in 83.
In that 92 tour in South Africa, Kapil Dev had some kind of hamstring injury. So he was actually unfit. But Kapil Dev being Kapil Dev said, मैं तो खेलूंगा. So the physio and the coach were a bit hesitant. They said, yeah, we don't think you should be playing. So we'll do a fitness test. So Pasi did a fitness test.
Running
and
and
he
all
played. He said, मैं तो खेलूंगा.
And he bowled with full run up.
मैं खेलूंगा.
देखा?
Because and the thing is, अब कोई खिलाड़ी हुआ, he would happily ask for rest.
Yeah.
Whereas Kapil Dev, even when slightly unfit, would play. So that's the difference.
I don't think he missed a match except for that one test where they suspended him in his
Also, I
entire
can't
career.
understand this. In the IPL, you're bowling 4 overs. If you play 14 matches, you're bowling 56 overs. 56 overs, 6 weeks.
And no bowler plays all 14 यार. 10-12 तो खेलेगा, 2-3 का रेस्ट तो मिलेगा उसमें.
48 से 50 ओवर करने मुश्किल से 6 हफ्ते में.
Yeah.
यार कपिल देव would bowl 30 overs in a day.
Yeah.
Kumble has bowled 30 overs
And
in a day.
sometimes we were bowled out twice in a day, so you have to bowl again.
Yeah, so in one match he's bowling 60 overs and you're talking of...
This was Ian Botham said the same thing. We used to play county cricket 7 days a week. What are they talking about? Rest. Finish the test match and play
Sobers played test cricket.
Yeah.
He played county cricket.
Shield in Australia.
Shield. He was playing 12 months in a year.
Gavaskar, Vengsakar would come back from the airport to play for Mumbai.
Yeah. Gavaskar keeps saying, na, what is this gym fitness and round lagana? I'm match fit. मैं 2 दिन बैटिंग करता हूँ.
True.
और मेरे इट्स नॉट दैट 2 दिन बैटिंग करने से मेरे को कुछ फर्क पड़ रहा है. आई हैव नॉट गॉट आउट बिकॉज मैं थक गया हूँ. तो he said that's the difference between match fitness and
Amit ji, I am convinced by you that they are spoiled, the cricketers today, and we should take 20% of their earnings. Should be cut right now.
And it should be given to you.
To me! No. And please go ahead and read the book. We are running out of time, so I have to say bye here. Pitchside Amrit Mathur. If you're a cricket nut like me, this book is, I read this so quickly because it's so much fun. It's peppered with anecdotes. It's never dry or boring. It's personal insight in a very self-deprecating way. He doesn't mention what his contribution is actually, which is immense, and one day will be given the right credit and due. But in the meantime, he talks about all the greats around him, Indians and beyond, because cricket is not just about one country, and it's really worth reading. So please go and get it. It's called Pitchside with Amrit Mathur.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
To talk to you.
Oh, my pleasure.